This episode is sponsored by Squarespace.
Welcome back. It is lovely to have you here because we are making our own panel saw, but not just from a regular bit of sheet. This began life as 10 panel saws. And we pick up from the end of the last episode where I just did some normalizing cycles on this. Now, I must say, the material that they must use to make these saws does seem to be quite fancy because the spring this thing has, after only a normalizing cycle, is quite remarkable. It is very, very stiff. Whatever steel they're using to make commercially available panel saws is no joke. I reckon it'd probably make pretty good knife steel too. Now the start of this episode is just going to be thrilling because, as you can see, we're about 20,000 times thicker than we need to be. An actual saw blade is 0.85 mil, and ours is currently 3.6. Time to take this saw blade on a diet. Ah! Oh, I'm wrong. Actually time for some precision measuring and laying out. That would be smart. Yeah, that's so precise. Wow, that's a waste of time. I need to get a new one of these. Oh yeah, if I want any hope of doing this accurately. Good as new. Righto, I've been in there a while, so now we find out how much material we've managed to take off there. It was 3.4 millimeters thick. Oh, hey, that's better than I thought. We've taken a whole millimeter off. It's now 2.4 millimeters thick. And we only have another 1.5 millimeters to go. We have to keep it perfect. We've got a fabulous bow forming in this thing. 1.5 millimeters to go. We're down to 1.6 mil, making progress. But an interesting phenomenon has developed itself. I really hope you can see this. If I just touch this in such a certain way, it pops from one side to the other, which is really weird because that's not the flex of it. If I go here and I try and flex it, yeah, sure, it'll spring. But over here, from this side, if I push ever so gently, it just pops, which is really strange. And it makes me think of one of these things. Do you remember these things from when you were a kid in school, Jamie? On a cold winter's day, you take this, it has a little metal disc in it that has been dished, and you pop it, and then a chemical reaction starts, and it becomes a hand warmer. Ooh, that is really quite pleasant. But that little disc reminds me of what is going on here. The way it's been ground, and the way this steel is, has just made this weird spot where it's dished, and the tension is making it pop from one side to the other. So that needs to be dealt with. Right, after another batch of grinding, the little wibble wobble hasn't got better. In fact, it's got worse, which is great. And I've just noticed that we're 1.3 millimeters up here and down to 0.98 millimeters here. So it's 30% thinner in this one spot, which is not good and probably makes it easier for it to do this kind of pinging back and forth thing. Grinding this has been especially difficult because it's so thin that even just pushing on the back of it to grind it will make this kind of concentrated zone where it's more ground. So I've really got to try and spread out my fingers to balance out that pressure. And I think that's probably the whole reason why we've got this funkiness going on over here. Why are you the way that you are? Oh, hello. Oh, we've got a little convexity to it. Not very flat, is it now?
I have an idea to make grinding this easier. Paint roller to support it from the back. Wow, that's awful. I fixed it, yes! Oh, so I worked on the middle here, you see those lines? And the result is, oh, well, much less popping. Now, 120 grit. Pop.
Right, the grinding been done, and now what we've got to do is we've got to think about what's probably going to be even more challenging than what was already quite challenging, and that is installing the teeth. Now, in the last episode, we saw on how it's made, they had very fancy equipment and machines to stamp out the teeth, grind them, oh, it was just fabulous. We don't have any of that equipment, but what we do have is the luxury of having had episode is already going.
And this is an urgent announcement from the Ministry of Geometry. This video that Mr. Steele is undertaking is including far too many triangles. This saw blade that he's recreating has 169 of them, and the ruddy thing even looks like a triangle. This is an outrage, and we need you to do your part to save humanity by building yourself a Squarespace website.
Well, righto, you heard the man. Build yourself a Squarespace website. But don't just do it for humanity, do it for yourself. The leap of taking your hobby and turning it into a revenue-generating thing can be daunting, but with Squarespace, it is much simpler. It's an all-in-one platform, which means that everything from purchasing your domain, to setting up your online store, to running your email marketing campaigns, all happens within Squarespace with no plugins, patches, or upgrades ever. They have countless drag-and-drop themes to choose from, so whether it is that you want to sell your time and take advantage of Squarespace's scheduling feature, to book clients and take payments, or whether you want to sell products or simply just showcase your work in a portfolio, there's going to be a great theme to choose from. And if you want to move things around and customize the page, it's incredibly simple to do. Get started today with a free trial at squarespace.com/forge. When the free trial is over, code FORGE at checkout gets you 10% off your first purchase. We love Squarespace, and I know that you will too. Let's get back to the video.
But what we do have is the luxury of having had episode 1 of this series already go live, which means that the comments section has provided us a number of things. It's provided us some useful feedback on just how dry humor can be, because, you know the last episode where I weighed 1 saw blade and told you I couldn't work out the weight of 10 of them? I mean, I don't know what to think, that you think so little of me. That it's conceivable that that wasn't a joke. And 2, on a much more positive note, we got some great ideas of places to look for research on how saws are made, which is very good. One of the names we got told to look up was Paul Sellers. So we're going to dive a little bit into his content and see what we can learn about saw teeth. All right, sharpening a crosscut handsaw.
See the actual teeth.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So we got to work out whether we want to make a crosscut or a rip cut saw.
Just do them every 1 inch or so across.
Oh, that's a cool idea to get your angles right. Okay, this covers sharpening, but does he have anything on actually making the teeth? I mean, I guess making the teeth and sharpening, kind of one and the same. It's just that making the teeth is a lot more filing than sharpening, if I was to do it with a file, but maybe there are other ways. Oh, recutting and resizing saw teeth. A little bit of marking knife work to work out where the teeth are gonna go. Super neat, using a chisel to make a jig, I think. Oh, there we go, he's using a hacksaw to cut the teeth. The saw blade is between these bits of wood. I'm having hope, Jamie. This video is giving me hope that this is possible. Oh, wow, that's sharp. I'm feeling quite confident after watching some of those videos because I see a direction that we can head. I thought this was gonna be a project that would require making some sort of jig and running over to the milling machine using the DRO. I thought it was gonna be milling. Oh, I thought it was gonna be way too technical. Instead, a little old-fashioned hand work. So it starts like this. I'm going to take a little bit of wood here, and I'm going to use this to make a jig that gives me the teeth per inch that I need. Just like on a thread, saws have a measurement for how many teeth there are in a 1 inch distance. And this particular one, I don't even need to count. Thank goodness, it's got 7 teeth per inch. How on earth could we quickly lay that out? Well, we wouldn't know if it wasn't for that lovely YouTube video. Here's a simple way. Oh, brilliant trick to use the marking knife as well that we picked up from that video. Not that I have a marking knife, I have a box cutter.
We do not call them box cutters here in the UK, we call them Stanley knives.
This is actually made by Stanley.
I know, but even if it's not made by Stanley, we call them Stanley knives here in the UK.
Now we saw down to make a guide, but we modify the saw, I think. So one of the things I think I saw him do is modify a little hacksaw blade here, because you see how it has a waviness to it. That's to give it the setting of the teeth. Well, I want to make a little bit of a straighter section to cut with. We need to make a modification to this saw. We've got a little taper going on this hacksaw blade now, as per Mr. Paul Sellers' video. So I believe we grind off a little bit of the teeth and put a taper on it, so it's a little bit of a smoother start to the cutting. It's not as jittery, and I'm getting the feel for how it works. Yep, there we go. Using the wood as my guide for the teeth per inch. There we go, That's it, just get everything started and then I'm gonna bring it down to final depth. Oh, I hate myself. I didn't scribe the depth I needed. No, the calipers were perfect right off the bench. Nice gentle scribe.
It's going to be all bumpy.
No, it'll be good.
No, on this bit where you've already cut it.
Oh yeah, good point. Well, kind of missed the boat on that, didn't I? I have to individually scribe each tooth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I haven't even finished cutting 2.5 inches of teeth, and I can already feel the hacksaw is dulling. This is quite foreboding. This hacksaw is just dying. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to finish these. There's no more cutting happening. I got lucky that it was just the other day that I bought a bunch of new hacksaw blades, but you know what I did, Jamie? I was in the store and I thought to myself, you know, I need new hacksaw blades, but I almost never use the hacksaw and it's always for something very unimportant. I'll just buy the cheap junior hacksaw blades. The cheapest ones. Here I am having to change blades probably 20 times. I will never learn. Great, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. Now we've got to shuffle it to the next little section of teeth. One of the changes I'm making this time is instead of going to full depth with our jig in place, I'm actually just going to lower it because I can really get the feeling that I'm destroying the jig. So I'm just going to use it to get the spacing, then lower it, drop it down, and go to full depth just using the scribe line as my reference. Right, well I know exactly how much life we get out of a hacksaw blade. We get 2.5 inches per blade. We have 3 blades remaining, which means, if my maths is correct, we do not have enough hacksaw blades. So we might have to practice our saw sharpening on the hacksaw blades that we require to sharpen and make the teeth on this saw. We're going to do the same thing for 3 more hacksaw blades worth. Right, at this point I think we've deposited more waste material in the hacksaw blade teeth than we have our actual saw's teeth. Look how dull that bloody thing is. We're out of blades, but Jamie's been on a mission. Do you have any?
No.
Oh, that's anticlimactic. So as we are 5 hacksaw blades down with no more in sight or readily available, what we're going to do now is we're actually going to start filing the teeth. I have 1 triangular file, and it would appear when we look at the teeth. Let's zoom in. What we've done so far is we have cut down with our hacksaw and we have made a slot like this, which means that now all we've got to do to make the teeth profile is drop a triangular file in, keeping one edge perpendicular to the ground. That'll follow our hacksaw line. It's going to cut this slope of the tooth, and we're not going to worry about any sharpening yet. We're just going to make the profile correct. Big question though is, if this saw blade ruined our hacksaw blades, there's a very good chance it's really quite hard and is going to ruin our files. So we have an assortment of triangular files, some more suitable than others, hoping this beefy one is going to cut it all right, and we shall see. How could I have, that noise! So far, it's promising. That cut's nice, I like that. 2, 3, 4.
Well, don't you have to be making them until they're points, because they're not points?
Well, I'm going to do it bit by bit. So I'm going to do like half of it all the way across, and then come back and do it again until it's pointy. 1, 2, 3.
You've made that one a point.
Shoot.
Because you did the backstroke as well.
Shoot. Well, it's not meant to cut on the backstroke. It's because some of these teeth
Well,
are
it does
actually...
cut on the backstroke. Fireball Tool did a video on it.
It's a new day. We have an absolute ton of saw blades. All right, so we did all of these teeth today with only 2 blades, which tells us a very important lesson. I didn't need to buy 80 blades this morning on the way into work. I just needed to buy name brand blades. They did the job lovely. The file cut it perfectly as well. Can't really beat a good velour bay file, can you? And here we are with a gigantic number of square teeth, which isn't good enough. But I tell you what, we can maybe have a little play and see how does the saw cut as it currently stands. With square teeth and no setting. Oh my goodness. It's really not awful at all. Okay, it's sticky. I can feel that it's sticky. I also have a bum shoulder. It's remarkably impressive that it cuts so far from its finished state, because there's still plenty to do, and still plenty to learn. As you can see on the original saw, the teeth are actually shaped like little knives instead of big flat chisels. So I got to work out, do I do the setting and knock the teeth either side now, or do I turn them into little knives with that fancy bevel? The internet is down, so I can't actually look on YouTube. I'm gonna go for sharpen, then set. I'm taking a little angle measurement here. 72 degrees is the angle that I have for the teeth. A tip I do remember is this. I'm gonna chuck some scratch marks on this bit of wood so I can use this as a reference for making sure that my file is the correct angle. All right, so I think I've got a gauge on how this is gonna go. I file in at an angle, then I miss one tooth, and then I file in at that same angle. See what happens. I've just put this angle on those two teeth, which means I now need to do the crisscross of that over here, I believe. Does that look like saw teeth is the question. You see this bevel, you see that bevel. That's kind of how I think it wants to look. You see the bevel on this tooth, and then it's square and flat over here, and we see the bevel on that tooth. I think that's it. I think that is a sawtooth. That looks like the real deal. File the next, miss the one, file the next, miss the one, file the next. I think I've lost track of where I meant to go already. I'm gonna try a smaller file in case I can see my work a little easier, which might make me not get lost as easy. There we go, find the Sharpie, line up the angle. Okay, I quite like that. It's gonna be a little bit slower, but I can see what I'm doing so much better with the small file. Small file it is, folks. Right, we've got all the teeth that go in this direction cut. I'm now going to flip the blade around and we'll cut the teeth that go the opposite direction.
You're gonna flip it horizontally or vertically?
If I flip it,
you're gonna have teeth on both sides of the saw?
you can, and then
Is it gonna be a Japanese saw?
it becomes a Japanese saw. Oh, you beat me to my joke, Jamie. Oh, Jamie, by the way, do you like my custom wood vice jaws for the engineering vice here? Pretty snazzy, if I dare say so myself. I think I've made a mistake. You know, like when you try and flip a screw around, the teeth still go in the same direction. I flipped this around, hoping I could cut the opposite angle, but I don't think I can. If I cut like this, it's the same angle I've just made. Yeah, I can't do that. How am I gonna get the other angle?
You gotta put it in the vice, facing down, and then do it laid on your back.
I think I might have to do that. Maybe I can flip this board. Goes that. Nope, same problem. I can't flip the board. What if I put the board on the other side? Nope. I have to make a new board. Okay. Now that we're done cutting our teeth on cutting teeth, we have to work on setting teeth. I've got to precisely bend these teeth out just the correct amount. I'll catch you on the next episode, where we've also got to make, hopefully, a beautiful handle. Thank you for watching, and thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this. Check them out down below. Bye-bye.